Imagine walking into a dealership. The salesperson points to a car and casually mentions it costs $45,000. 5 minutes later, they say they can do $38,000. Immediately, that lower number feels like an undeniable bargain. But that feeling of scoring a deal is an illusion. That initial price has already altered your perception of value before you've even checked the market rate. This is anchoring bias. Your brain latches onto the first piece of information it receives, the anchor, using it as a rigid baseline. Subconsciously, even a completely random anchor generates a gravitational pull that warps your subsequent logic. Because of this hidden glitch in human reasoning, your financial choices and career moves are frequently directed by numbers you never actually vetted. Psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman first isolated this cognitive vulnerability in 1974. To test how easily our logic could be corrupted, they spun a wheel of fortune directly in front of their test subjects. The wheel was rigged to stop on either 10 or 65. Immediately after the spin, they asked the subjects to estimate the percentage of African countries that are members of the United Nations. This chart compares the estimates of the two groups. Subjects who saw the number 10 guessed, on average, 25%. Subjects who saw the number 65 guessed around 45%. Despite the random number, subjects let that arbitrary data point dictate their reality. The brain uses that first input as a shortcut. Instead of calculating a fresh answer, it makes insufficient adjustments from the initial anchor. These same psychological mechanics appear daily in professional settings, often beginning with the very first conversation about a salary. If you want $80,000, but a hiring manager opens the negotiation at $65,000, that low initial offer forcefully sets your expectations. Suddenly, a subpar counteroffer of $72,000 feels like a victory because it's a move upward from the anchor. Retailers use this effect by displaying an inflated original price, say $199, so that when they offer a sale price of $99, your brain perceives high value, even if the item is truly worth $80. In real estate, an overpriced listing tricks buyers into thinking anything under that mark is a bargain. In the stock market, an original purchase price of $100 often anchors an investor's perception, making them refuse to sell at $60 even when the current market value has shifted. The effect extends to social and medical settings as well. A poor first impression on a date anchors your overall opinion of that person. An initial diagnosis from a doctor can anchor their medical judgment, leading them to downplay symptoms that appear later. Psychologists categorize this persistent failure to distance ourselves from that first piece of information as insufficient adjustment. Unless you actively verify the data behind an initial offer, marketers and salespeople will continue to use this blind spot to influence your final decision. The primary defense is awareness. Simply identifying a number as an anchor neutralizes much of its psychological pressure. Beyond awareness, refuse to accept the first number presented. Mandate independent research to find your own data and challenge the other party to justify the basis for their figure. You can flip the script. Make the first offer yourself to force the other party to anchor to your data points. If you feel the pull of a high anchor, use time. Delaying a decision allows the cognitive gravity of that initial number to decay. Finally, rely strictly on objective criteria and outside third-party perspectives to define what constitutes a fair deal. Integrating these defensive protocols provides a framework to resist psychological pressure and maintain the integrity of your own research. Understanding the mechanics of anchoring allows you to recognize the pressure point in real time and protect your financial and career interests. Tell us about a time you fell for a false price anchor in the comments below. And if you want to continue building your cognitive defenses, subscribe to the channel.